explain to us how this really works. We've seen past presidents of the United States of America take a very harsh position when it comes to Russia. But Trump has been different. He's handled things very differently, how he really wanted to engage Russia, especially President Putin. Do you see a future where maybe this president will be able to change the way US engages Russia, how Washington engages Moscow, or will the deep state be at work and ensure that that doesn't happen? Because despite and in spite of that, the two leaders did meet.
I don't know if Mr. Trump's going to be able to do this. Here's my insight. Um, I have a couple of dear friends in the American media. Obviously, Tucker Carlson and I talk a lot. I remember I was talking to Tucker not long ago, and he said something that stayed with me because he knows them both better than I do. Um, he said, JD is really tough, and he gets it. Mr. Trump, not so much.
Hmm.
I think the American vice president has a better plan and a better picture and probably has more stamina and more backbone. He can't display it now because it would be, I guess, wrong of him to do that. And you don't want to backbite your employer. But I think JD uh, and a JD administration would probably be more toward an openness with Russia than obviously a Rubio administration, or even to some regard, this Trump administration. I think he could take it even a bit further. I think Trump tends to succumb to whoever is last in his ear, and the people who are in his ear right now are the neocons, no question. They're the Lindsey Grahams of the world, Lady Lindsey, as we call her. I mean him.
Hmm.
Um, they're the people who are talking to Mr. Trump and telling him what to do, and unfortunately, they're also business people and they talk business sense. And I don't know, my judgment, my take, what I'm seeing develop with Mr. Trump is that despite all his promises to end all the wars, and despite all his promises to be a peacemaker, and despite all his promises to forge a new and different world, it's all been bullcrap. It's the same
Hmm.
world. In fact, in some ways, it's maybe even less, more dangerous and less friendly.
Wow. Rick, you're really giving me a lot of insight now. I'll have to start really reading Marco Rubio and JD Vance and what they're doing to see what the future holds for not just America but also India-US relations, because 50% tariffs, Rick, on India. It is not just normal or not normal, it is absolutely ludicrous to have a country think they can impose 50% tariffs. You can engage, you can have a conversation, but to use tariffs as a weapon, which Trump is doing, what's your reading on that?
My reading is where we started the conversation. It's 50 to Geeta, it's 50% today. Tomorrow it could be 30. And the next day it could go down to 15. And then it could go back up to 60 or 65. And here's the problem with that. If you're an economist, and most economists will tell you this, the market feeds off of consistency. And you cannot react to tariffs when they change on a weekly basis. And that's unfortunately why I think the Indian market would be foolish to overreact to this 50%, because they should understand, like China understood, and like Brazil understood, and like the EU to a certain extent even understood, that whatever Mr. Trump says today will be different or changed tomorrow based on whoever compliments him.
Well, succumbing would mean investors would have no confidence in India. Look at China, they didn't succumb. Trump had to back off. Of course, the US needs China more than the US would ever need India, but succumbing is certainly not an option here.
So the question is the market big enough in these countries who were at this summit and the BRICS nations to give India enough so that it could live without Donald Trump? And can India make Donald Trump either realize that or at least believe that enough to go back on his 50% tariffs? That's the game that we're playing right now. In some sense, it's a bluff game. And if you play poker, you understand how that hand is played. And in other ways, it's actually a reality game where India has to say to itself, we cannot sit here and be their lapdog. And every time they say sit, we stand, etc., bark, we bark. No, we have to make this decision. And either it's going to work as a bluff, or B, a reality of the way things are going to be done in the future. But India better be damn sure and ready to move in the direction of the BRICS nations for sure if it makes that threat. And I think that's the play that Mr. Modi is playing right now, and that's the reason he didn't take Mr. Trump's phone calls. My take.